Welcome to the KSSP podcast. I'm Katie.
And I am Spencer.
And today we are going to be talking about gig work and about delivery driving for apps such as DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats. Got some tips for everybody. And let me just get started here. All right. My first tip is don't accept low-paying orders. Definitely nothing under $6 and nothing under $1 per mile. Because if you accept anything lower than that, you're going to be actually losing money, paying for gas and paying for your time and everything. The second tip I have, don't knock on the door or ring the doorbell unless you're asked, because you don't know who has a kid. You don't know who has a dog that's going to bark. You don't know if someone's going to be asleep. Even during the day, maybe someone works an overnight shift. You don't want to disturb the guest. And they'll get the notification on their phone when their food is ready. So unless you're instructed to, in the delivery instructions, don't knock or ring the doorbell. And the third tip I would have is always verify the name. If you're handing food to someone in a lobby or an entryway of, say, an apartment or a business or a hotel, you always want to verify the name. And don't ask them, oh, are you Sarah? You want to ask, oh, what's the name on the order? And leave it open-ended so that they can give you the correct name. And if it is a leave it at the door order, you always want to take a picture, because you never know when a customer is going to lie and say they didn't get their food. It's actually happened to me before. And you can actually get deactivated for that if you don't have the proof. So the fourth tip I would have is to get stickers for your car or a mirror hanger, something that lets people know that you're door dashing. This is going to help prevent tickets or tows in a lot of cases, but also know that it's not always going to prevent those things. So you definitely want to watch where you park and park legally whenever you can. And always check for the drinks. Always check your order for any drinks. McDonald's will put them in the bag, so they're the exception to the rule. You don't have to check for drinks with them because you don't want an unsealed bag. You don't want to open a sealed bag. Always make sure you have drinks. And the last tip I have, you want to communicate with the customer, but only if you're waiting for a long time, if you get lost or need information from the customer, or if you're instructed to communicate at any point. Anything else is a little excessive because the app will tell them most of the information they need to know. And more broadly speaking, the app does not train you. There is no orientation on the app. So you have to be very intuitive with the job. But yeah, pretty much anyone can sign up for DoorDash, at least where I live. It's going to vary from state to state, area to area, how open the availability is. But generally, anyone can sign up for DoorDash. Those would be the tips that I have for people.
I have some questions I can ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, what made you get into gig work?
Well, before my gig work, I was primarily working in fast food. And the main thing was I just did not like working under bosses that were not competent, if I'm being honest, or bosses that maybe weren't making the right decisions. I was getting really frustrated. And I like DoorDash because those kind of apps, because I can work for myself and I can have a flexible schedule. I can work whenever I want. Although you do kind of have to work around, if you really want to make good money, you have to work during the rush hour times, but you can still work whenever you want to. And there will still be offers, if your area is not too saturated, at pretty much any time.
So I guess you answered some, but do you have any other pros besides the ones you just listed? Any other pros to gig work that you can think of?
Yeah. Well, it's definitely making more money than I was working in fast food. I would make anywhere between $20 to $30 an hour before including gas.
With gig work?
Yeah, with gig work versus making about 15 in a fast food job. Okay.
What about cons?
Cons? Well, one of the cons, you're going to get a lot of really low paying orders. So you have to be careful with what you accept, like I said. And the other cons is that it is primarily tip based. DoorDash actually doesn't really pay you that high of a wage. Their customer service is not great either. I'll just say that up front, for the drivers and for the customer. But especially for the drivers, I've heard, I've had times when I've just been trying to fix something on an order, and then the customer service person will just cancel the order and I won't get paid because they don't understand what I'm trying to explain to them for whatever reason. So it's not an hourly base rate, but they'll typically pay you about $2.50 an order. Although they have started to raise the base rates a little bit recently, but like, yeah, the typical base rate is about $2.50 for an order. And there's different pros and cons with each of the apps. Like, I would say Uber Eats will probably be taking you the farthest to a customer. Like, they will make you drive the most miles. Like DoorDash and Grubhub will kind of not make you drive as far. Like their area is a little more limited. No coworkers, but you do interact with like the restaurant staff, and it's always good to be amicable towards them, even, when you get frustrated waiting 20 minutes for an order, because it's not like their fault that they're that busy, and you have to keep that in mind, that like they're just trying to do their job just like you're trying to do your job. I've been lucky enough to where I've, at least working for like these apps, I've never had to really deal with a terrible customer that was like super rude, but like I have been on DoorDash forums and things like that on Facebook where I've definitely seen some very rude customers.
For most of the orders still no contact for?
Yeah, most people will select the leave it at the door option,
Okay.
which would be the no contact option. There are a few people who want them to hand it to you. And then, sometimes it'll say like, oh, here's another thing. Sometimes they'll select hand it to me, and then in the comments, they'll write leave it at the door. And I always go by what the comments say.
Rules, limits. Like, you can obviously listen to podcasts or music, I'm guessing, while you're driving. Like, there's no...
Yeah, that's another great benefit. Like, you can listen to podcasts or music, or like, you can even, like, also, I'd sometimes listen to like a TV show, like not watching it, but just listening to it.
Oh, yeah. Can't watch things when we're driving, but you can listen for sure. I've done that before. So then I think that'll be the end for this Tuesday's episode.
Yeah, I think so.
So again, we just want to we have some ideas for Tuesday, and one of those ideas is getting professionals from, like today we did gig work, so professionals from different fields, being able to ask them questions that you guys may have pertaining to that specific field, and just let us know what professions you'd like to hear from. We'll let you know in advance when we have a professional that we're going to have on, so you guys can let us know what questions you have. I'm thinking, as of now, the tentative plan for next Tuesday is probably to do nursing, because that was what I did. So if you guys have any questions, just leave them in the comments so that I know what you guys want to hear about, because otherwise it's kind of hard to know what to talk about if I don't know what you guys want to hear about. But that's the tentative plan, I'm thinking. So
yeah, and you can reach out to us on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
Yes, so just let us know what you guys want to see and hear, and we will see you then.